All right, welcome back to Seminary Podcast. This is, I don't know what episode it is. It doesn't really matter. Also, I need to go back through and delete a lot of things. But anyway, I really don't know how to come back from, I was gonna come on and just kind of cry for a while. And uh, I'm not at that Jim Cramer level yet where I'm that good of an actor. But I really just wanted to help people. And I failed to do that. And I do kind of feel that way, but also hopefully no one took my advice. It is kind of sad that I seriously got to the point of being that desperate and watching enough buy gold videos that I started making them myself. And the sad part is I wasn't even part of the scam. I just got scammed that hard that I was like, yeah. Um, which that might actually work out eventually. I just don't have the patience for it. That might actually be bottoming out now. I don't care. I moved on to the new scam. And these ones are pretty good. Also, I haven't looked at I'm gonna get onto the real stuff later and stop talking about any of that. Um, but I haven't looked at betting in a while. I want to let everybody know about a couple great bets that I've seen recently because um let's see. The presidential election, I mean, it's a year off, but if you get and even for who's going to get nominated for each candidate for each party, but that one's good for the Democratic candidate, assuming something happens to Joe Biden in the next 5 months, or they decide not to run him, which is rare. I don't think the only time that's happened is maybe Roosevelt because he started his own party or whatever. But if you think about what are the chances that this guy, one, survives and two, is in a good enough mental state that they can run him, or do they take somebody else? I think it's a good enough chance that assuming Joe Biden doesn't get it, you can put $100 on the next four people, and honestly, probably don't put any on a couple of them or less because Gavin Newsom, is that really going to happen? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., they don't like him. They're not going to choose him. So I would honestly go with Michelle Obama, and that's plus 900. That you put $100 down on that, that's 1,000. Um, Kamala Harris plus 1,800. Put $100 back on that, then you have 1,800. That's obvious. That's the way it works. But yeah. Anyway, I don't need to go into the details of it. And I think I already messed it up. Yeah, Michelle Obama, put $100 down, you get 900. That's how it works. But you do the average of all those four: Gavin Newsom, Michelle Obama, Robert Kennedy Jr., Kamala Harris. Put $400 down, split it evenly among them. Average out, the return on that is like you have like 3,000. That's 650%. That's pretty good. That's assuming that something happens to Joe Biden. But also, if anyone has any ideas, if we can figure out some type of a scheme, I want to make it very clear we're not talking about assassinating the president, but just a scheme to embarrass him, just to put it out, just to make sure that he can't run. If there's anything that we can uncover, and then at that point, it's free money. It's free money. So that's probably the best. It's probably the best investment I've seen recently. And I think if you knew someone, or if somehow if you could get a little shit stain on him somewhere, because that's been the rumor that which is sad, but it's like, what are you gonna do about it? Let's take advantage of it. If we can figure out how to sneak a stain on there somewhere, enough to embarrass um them enough that they can't run him, it's free money. That's my best That's my best idea on how to do that, but I don't know how we'd actually go about making that happen, or if we could uncover any, footage of. I mean, I don't know what else. I don't know if that would work because there's already video where he's like, my butt's been wiped. I don't really know if it. I don't know if it matters at this point. This is the end, and it's just gonna get weirder and weirder. Um, what else? Because I think this is the thing to do. Every once in a while, I'm gonna come on and maybe have a couple good ideas for people to look into. Because I feel like that's the best way to go with the podcast at this point, assuming it doesn't get huge. And I don't really want it to, honestly. I feel like this is the best use of it is like as a uh for people to collaborate into it and to use these for ideas. The other main thing I think could be big is uh rescheduling weed is like if that happens, it doesn't really mean a whole lot except a lot of I think it just opens up so they can sell it easier and they have a good reason to do that because the government needs money and they just tax the shit out of it. And but it's also going to help all these companies like Wall Street Bets was saying just to what's it called? MSOS. There's probably individual companies that could do better than this, but the advisor shares pure US cannabis ETF, it bounced up last week like 40%, but that's from all-time low. That's from that's from about $5. So it's 6.85 now. But when they were talking about legalizing it a couple years ago, it was at $50. So if we're saying we got a price target of $30, I would just who knows when it's gonna happen. But if you got a few $100 put down, maybe I'll put $200 in shares, and then that's 500% returns probably. If this happens, it's like that's pretty good. You just made $1,000. So I think that's a pretty safe investment. And what's the most you're going to lose? Do we really, if there's a crazy recession, which I know I was saying is going to happen, I don't know. I think that's all you can do at this point. There's a lot of people who know a lot more than me, but mostly what most people can do is say, I don't know. At least for me, that's the best thing to do with most situations. Go, I don't have an opinion. I don't fucking know. But I really don't see this going any lower than it was like in August. So I think this is pretty safe and it'd be could be pretty big. I'm done with the get rich quick stuff. We got to think long, you can cut a couple corners, you can take a couple shortcuts, you can YOLO and get lucky a couple times, but eventually that whatever mindset that in it, you'll luck will run out eventually. You'll fall off. Um, and anyway, yeah, moderately, hopefully fast enough that we can not end up eating bugs in a camp. That's the main goal, and that's what kind of keeps me going. And I'm so glad that that actually exists out there and is, that's why I haven't been this fired up in a while. And now I really feel like there's a lot of this also is 10 o'clock. I still feel like suicidal in the mornings, but that's normal. That's like not really. Like I wouldn't actually do that, but sometimes I'm like, I would go, what am I doing here? Like, why don't I go live in the woods for real? Um, Also, I don't do it, but that's not a bad way to be. I was reading the book of the law. It says, those who live long and wish for death shall prosper. Pretty interesting stuff. But seriously, I don't know why I brought that up, but don't don't kill yourself. Not at least not or if you just feel that way generally about everything and the way things work and I'm not telling you what to do, but if it's over some bullshit, like apparently something like that just happened here and I don't want to disrespect anybody, but it over some bullshit. And it's like if something like that is happening, I don't have a lot of money, but let Atlantis 2 know. We'll get you a plane ticket out to Australia. We'll get you a copy of technological slavery, and you can go out there and just, I don't know why Australia. You could go somewhere else too, but I've always imagined, you know, going out into the outback there. That's what the guy who used to make the little huts and all the stuff like that. He used to uh what was it called? Primitive technology. That's I think he was in Australia, so I've always imagined that's where he. But if you want to get away from some weirdo shit that's going on, some people problems, people get stuck in narrow views of time and narrow views in their life, and you go take a step back, go, you know, you're here, you might as well wait it out, take advantage of it, go see how living in the woods works. I did see a guy that crashed a plane though, and I was like, that was fucked up too, but it was like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but what else? What else we got? No, I'm very hopeful, and I'm just so glad, honestly, that there's bad guys out there. I'm so glad that there's like Klaus Schwab. I think about it sometimes. I'm like, thank the Lord. What would I do? Everything would be so boring if there wasn't imminent doom, you know? And that's what keeps me fired up. That's what keeps me going every day. And just the thought that there's something else. Because for some reason, some people, I'm not trying to put myself above anything, above anybody. I do feel that way, but you know, I don't know if that's a right way to look at things. That is one, apparently that's something a lot of really successful people have, though, if you want to be successful. One, the marshmallow test and how long you can wait for your marshmallows. As a kid, they do these tests on kids. Can you want a marshmallow right now? You want to wait? We'll give you two marshmallows. You want to wait a couple days? We get. And that measures how successful kids are. And I was really good at that as a kid. I was proud of myself for I don't know how old I was, 7 or 13 or something, but I had never spent any money. And I was like, I would never, or I bought things, but not like unnecessary things. And I was thinking about buying. I'd seen this like boomerang, and I was like, I might buy a boomerang, but that'll be like my thing. And I still don't really do that, but I do have a, I do, I realized I would need to restrain myself a little bit in my schemes, and I need to tone things down. I need to say, would an evil genius really do this? Would Bill Gates do this? Would he go, fuck it, I'm desperate. I gotta throw some money in this right now. Let's make this happen, Or would he go, what if I made some new and improved mosquitoes? And what if give them, I said they were fighting diseases, and I was putting them out to breed around and to make like sterile, nice mosquitoes, but really they were spreading malaria. And 6 years later, I could sell my malaria vaccine, and they would also make everybody allergic to meat. So I could feed them bugs, and I could invest in growing bugs, and I could feed everybody bugs and put them in a camp making bugs. And takes a long time, but eventually plays out, and you cash in, you go, fuck yeah, I won, I'm smart. And sometimes, and that's, you don't have to be evil like that, but you can learn the techniques of these people, um, of the evil and successful. That's some I've been thinking about recently. I finally started reading How to Win Friends and Influence People again. And you can use those techniques, but do it in a genuine way. Like I feel like this is going pretty good. I didn't want to do a podcast in a while, because I was like, do we really need another person to go on and be retarded on the internet? Because I feel like there's so many. This is another reason I'm feeling in this right now. Like I need to be back in here in the fight. That's another reason because there's so many frauds and grifters out there and sleazy, scoozy, you know. Anyway, um, it's like how do we differentiate from because I felt like I was trying to bring this back to what it's supposed to be, what it used to be, which was somebody going on and just putting it out there and it was real. It was, you know, Alex Jones or it was, people doing salvia in a basement and that's what it's supposed to be. And now everybody has a podcast and a little clip and it's I don't know. Anyway, I was talking about something. Sometimes I feel like Bill Gates though, where I'm like, maybe these people want to eat bugs in a camp, It's like, is this recording? Yeah. Fuck. I shouldn't have interrupted myself. What was I talking about? What was I? God. I got some new homeless art. I picked that up recently. So I a lot of the schemes haven't worked out, but I realized what is a good investment right now, a good thing to build up. What can if everything doesn't crash, I think homeless art is going to be the next big thing because really, who decides that what art is good, you know? And like, it's also a great way if you got to build someone up and be like, this is good. Let's, launder some money. That's really what all this is about. Well, that guy who used to run around and be like, throw a bucket of paint against the wall, and everybody's like, "You're a genius." People just wanted to believe that they saw the genius. He was really laundering money for the CIA or something. Like all this stuff is. Think about it. What is Hunter Biden? I like Hunter Biden's art. I like, but also, is it better than that? I don't know. I don't know. Um, they're laundering money through it. That's what I'm saying. That's what a lot of this stuff is. I'm gonna pause this and what was I? Oh, yeah. So a lot of the other thing that makes people is the marshmallow test, and you can use other foods too. Probably I don't know why they use marshmallows, but and you have to. It's people who are like insecure, but they think they're better than everyone else. So you gotta lean into that a little bit, not too much, but um. Is that what I was talking about? Oh yeah, I was talking about using the evil and successful's um tactics, but you can still do it in a nice and genuine way. I just realized when I was reading How to Win Friends and Influence People that because I was kind of giving up on everything, and then I was like, well, what would Charles Manson do? Because normally you know, I talk to people and I'm like, they tell me uh, about the environment or whatever, and I'm like, fucking cow farts, are you kidding me? But then you got to go, what would what would Charlie do? And you go, girl, I love the environment. That's like our main thing that we do. All you got to do is carve an X in your forehead. And the sad thing is, but that's the way it works. You get people you go, that's a great idea. You're an interesting person. Let's do this. And people will carve an X in their forehead. It's kind of sad. It's like, but maybe it's better than eating bugs and it can't. Um, Fuck, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know. I'm about ready to give up again. Um, what was the other thing? Also, I realized these don't need to be that long. I could just, no one, a lot of people don't have long attention spans anymore. Put them out 5, 10 minute episodes. Anybody trying to do something and it doesn't seem like it's working, it's like, do it a different way, you know? Do it in a whatever length works for you and just keep and make sure it's good too. I used to keep old episodes up and stuff. I need to listen back through and but now I'm like there's a couple I did were good. The ones I did with other people are good. But some there was times in there where I was not on it. Go through, make some notes of what you did right and wrong. Get it out of there. You don't need to waste anybody's time. We got to be concise right now. We got to be laser focused right now. That's what everybody's got to do. But yeah, I was just thinking, it's like everybody's strange times. The next 2,000 years, I was I was about to post that. I was about to say strange times coming up, not a bad time to get in the dark arts. But then I said, what was the last time you tried to give everybody advice and you told them to get into gold? Um, how'd that work out? It might work out still. I don't know. Why do I always decide to record this real late? And you know what? I'm gonna read some stuff from the book of the law and then I'm gonna shut this off and talk about it later. Um, but hopefully I keep doing this again, keep everyone updated and scheming. And if anybody wants to come on here, let me know because we gotta make some major moves in the next 2 years, next 20 years, major transition coming up in the next 2,000 years. The age of the Aeon of Horus. That's what Aleister Crowley said. It's gonna be strange times. It does say, and I was contemplating whether I should bring this book up because it does say study of this book is forbidden. It is wise to destroy this copy after the first reading. And people go, ooh, it's a spooky book, whatever. This is if you really want to get into the dark arts, you want to get into the cult. This is this is the peak. This is some real shit. This is whoever disregards this does so at his own risk and peril. These are most dire. Oh, and the first thing is do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Those who discuss the contents of this book are to be shunned by all as centers of pestilence. So I don't know, but I'm taking a risk here. Hopefully, I hopefully these entities will. All questions of the law are to be decided only by appeal to my writings, each for himself. There's no law to do with the will, love is law, love is blah, blah, blah. But anyway, the important part is I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot of it's very vague and it could be taken a lot of ways, but some spooky stuff. That was written by Aleister Crowley. That wasn't the stuff he channeled from these entities. But I'm gonna read note at the beginning where he's talking about what is describing what the book is about. And I think for being written in 1904, it's pretty prophetic. If that's I don't know if that's a word, but it might as well be. You know what I mean. Let's see. Okay. This god, I'm not reading the whole like little chapter here. I'm just reading part of it. But this god Horus has a technical title. I don't need to read that, but maybe I should. No disrespect. Don't you know? Uh, the meaning of this doctrine must be studied in magic. He is symbolized as the hawk-headed god enthroned. He rules the present period, and this is he's not, they might not actually be actual, this is like the Egyptian stuff where they're symbolized as that, but he's like, these are aggregates of ex what is anyway, it's whatever forces kind of control things. I don't know, some type of gravities or stuff out there. It's like doesn't have to be actual thing. Who knows though? Anyway, but he rules the present period of 2,000 years beginning in 1904. Everywhere his government is taking root, observe for yourselves the decay of the sense of sin, the growth of innocence and irresponsibility, the strange modifications of the reproductive instinct with a tendency to become bisexual or epicene, the childlike confidence in progress combined with a nightmare fear of catastrophe against which we are yet half unwilling to take precautions. Consider the outcrop of dictatorships only possible when moral growth is in its earliest stages, and the prevalence of infantile cults like communism, fascism, pacifism, health crazes, occultism in nearly all its forms, and religion sentimentalized to the point of practical extinction. Consider the popularity of the cinema, the wireless, the football pools, and the guessing competitions, all devices for soothing fractious infants, no seed of purpose in them. Consider sport, the babyish enthusiasms and rages which it excites whole nations disturbed by disputes between boys. Consider war, the atrocities which occur daily and leave us unmoved and hardly worried. We are children. How this new Aeon of Horus will develop, how the child will grow up, these are for us to determine, growing up ourselves in the way of the law of Thelema under the light and guidance of, I don't know who that guy is, but yeah, for 1904, it's pretty telling of what is currently happening, where everything's a bubble, everything's where are we going? What is this? And you finally realize nobody knows, but the people who say they do, you can get a following now. That's a weird thing. That's the thing you got to watch out for. And I'm thinking sometimes I go, oh, I wake up and I go, what the fuck? I don't want to participate in this shit. I don't want to be, I don't want to I don't want to. I was reading this and I was like, this is making a lot of. Once I get into this this thing that's communicating with him in the actual book here, I'm going, this sounds like what's going on. It's like I don't want to. I don't know if I want to read this. I don't know if I want to be the chosen one. I was got home after work. I was tripping out. I was reading this for like late. I read the whole thing and I was like, oh, this is nice. And then you get to the end, it's like I will peck out the eyes of Jesus of my hawk's head. And I was like, dang, I'm not even religious like that, but chill out. I was trying to go to sleep, but it's maybe it's not literal, but it's and it'd be one thing if there was just some random guy, but this is Aleister Crowley. This is the guy who yeah, talked to Hitler and who's a European guy, Churchill. He was talking to all these major political figures and everybody during the war and everything, and uh, he had all these crazy connections, and this you don't want to go too deep into figuring this stuff out, trying to figure out what is going on because or at least make sure you say okay, I don't know, okay, I don't know, because it told him it's like you're not going to be able to figure this out, and it and he didn't follow its instructions how it told him to print this out and propagate it, get all this out um originally, and he even knew that toward the end of the what this thing was telling him was evil, but eventually he just went deeper and deeper trying to figure out what it was trying to tell him, and eventually got to him because he was doing well before this stuff happened. He was into the cult a little bit, but he's like, all right, I'm in this stuff, and I'm traveling the world, and I'm married, I'm getting into playing chess. He had a bunch of like mountain climbing records and like K2 and stuff. Anyways, in Egypt, they go, hey, you want to go into the pyramid? He's like, oh, I'll go into the pyramid. I'll go in the king's chamber. I'm gonna show off for my wife. I'm gonna do a little ritual I used to do. Next thing you know, they're at wherever they're staying the next 3 days. They start channeling this thing. Next thing you know, he writes this book. Next thing he's hanging out with the elites. He's being gay in the desert, trying to summon the demon. He's, you know, doing heroin. He's dead. And that's the way it goes. You go too deep into this stuff, but it is interesting if you can pick up on all these different things that all these people who seem to have an idea of where things were going, and you kind of balance it out and listen to everything, but don't be pressured by any of it. Don't. And I'm not trying to get on. There's a lot of people on the internet nowadays go on. They go, I'm gonna give people advice, and I don't want to be in any type of thing like that. But you gotta listen to everything, but not take any of it in. That's something I wish I'd done earlier. Is go, you know, not be pressured by anybody's advice from other people, because it's like, all right, everybody. That's something it says in How to Win Friends and Influence People. It says treat everyone as if you're their superior in some way. They like you probably learn something from them, but you don't need to put anybody above you and feel pressured by anything. It's like that's the thing you got to do with investing with anything, is to not get too far into listening to one thing. You go, okay, I don't know, and you just let it all sort itself out anyway. Maybe I'll keep reading this. This is another interesting part. The next step, democracy daughters, ferocious fascism, cackling communism. Equally frauds cavort crazily all over the globe. They are hemming us in. They are the abortive births of the child, the new Aeon of Horus. Liberty stirs once more in the womb of time. Evolution makes its changes by anti-socialistic ways. The abnormal man who foresees the trend of the times and adapts circumstance intelligently is laughed at, persecuted, often destroyed by the herd. But he and his hires, when the crisis comes, are survivors. Above us today hangs a danger never yet paralleled in history. We suppress the individual in more and more ways. We think in terms of the herd. War no longer kills soldiers, it kills all indiscriminately. Every new measure and this was written, you know, right before World War II and everything. It was very telling. Um, Every new measure of the most democratic and autocratic governments is communistic in essence. It is always restriction. We are all treated as imbecile children. Dora, the Shops Act, the motoring laws, Sunday suffocation, the censorship. And this is all stuff that's happening back then. I don't really know what it's about, but they won't trust us to cross the roads at all. Fascism is like communism and dishonest into the bargain. The dictators suppress all art, literature, theater, music, news that does not meet their requirements, yet the world only moves by the light of genius. The herd will be destroyed in mass. The establishment of the law of Thelema is the only way to preserve individual liberty and to assure the future of the race. In the words of the famous paradox of the Comte de Phoenix, the absolute rule of the state shall be a function of the absolute liberty of each individual will. All men and women are invited to cooperate with the master Therion in this, the great work. And then I think that's a pentagram and some other spooky stuff. But uh a lot of people associate all that kind of symbology with like the devil and stuff. Um, a lot of it is really Alice Aleister Crowley, which is not in any sort of it's misconstrued as that, and it's taken by a lot of people who yeah. Anyway, um, this is not this is almost saying, and I don't know if you want to take this as any sort of truth as people take. It's nice to take something and go, you know, I'm into God. I'm a Satanist. I'm into science, whatever it is, whatever on whatever spectrum of how nice it is or bad it is, whatever it is. It's nice to take there's all strict, nice value systems, you know, when really things are probably far beyond our comprehension of that's probably the most likely thing. And it's probably some type of defense mechanism for people to go, after you die, there's just nothing, or you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna go to heaven, it's all evolution or whatever people like to believe when it's probably who knows? Or oh, it's who knows? It's probably everything, you know. That's but anyway. Um yeah, I don't know really what that symbol means, but and I think he didn't even know what a lot of this stuff means. He just wrote it down. There's a lot of like weird like code and just like random sequences when he's channeling this thing of like letters and numbers and stuff. And he can't even figure out what this means, like all this. And it's like, yeah, anyway, and a lot of different ways this stuff could be taken. And I'll hopefully go into that later. And, hopefully people will slowly figure this out and maybe not be sure not that we don't blindly act on it. But um anyway, uh where is it gonna go with this? But yeah, I'll go back to that on the next episode and some other ideas I have on that. There was a um a line in it I thought was interesting just coming from reading Kaczynski where it said in this age the individual will be seen as a unit of society. And that's kind of seems like that's what you know I don't know I don't even know if that's a good thing, because a lot of people, it's sad, but a lot of people I think don't like psychological conflict and they want to be led. It does say the herd will be destroyed in mass, which would be sad, but it's like I guess if everybody was just a chimp, who knows what the world would be like then too. But yeah, it's I've just been thinking about like sometimes I don't want to participate in this stuff. I don't know if I really want to get out there and make a move or that I even can, but I do think we can, and that I do think that this, even Atlantis 2 or anything that we came up with as a maybe not even entirely seriously, I think it will have to be taken more seriously in the future. And if it's not Atlantis 2, it's going to be something else. And even if we can't do it perfectly, it might be better than whatever the other thing would be, because there will be some type of There will be new followings, new cults and things being built. You see people want to follow something right now. People always want to, it's hard for people to say, I don't know. It really is. People want to go, here's a here's a energy uh I don't like to say vampire because it's gross. That stuff's gay and it creeps me out. But I heard uh I I heard something about that once where it's saying, a lot of the people that you see now are that's what they're doing. They're playing a character and they're saying this crazy stuff just to get attention and just to suck all your uh all your emotion out and just to whether that is actually at some other level or whether it's just they're making money off you wasting your time into your screen. That's what it is now. um and it's like people there's already been knowledge out there and there's already been good systems and ways to live your life through if you look into it, like, and you but people want to follow something now, they want to they'll go for people keep they'll go for Ponzi scheme pimps and whatever new politician comes out, they'll go for it, even though they're not. But anyway, I was thinking, I was like, by not participating in any of that, by standing back and saying, I don't know if you can wash your hands of it. I don't know if you can be clean. I don't know if you can, the system will still function. It'll function differently, but it'll still function. So I don't know if you're I don't know if you're I don't want to say guilty. I don't know what the right word is for it, but by by totally removing yourself from the world or just standing back and watching rather than playing a part and trying to move it. I don't know that it actually changes, what you owe or what you're responsible for. It just makes the system a little bit different. It's still gonna function for whatever purpose there is. um I just do think that something is coming, and a lot of people, I mean, something's always coming. There's always something happening, but people don't see things happening because they haven't happened before in their lifetimes. And it's maybe nothing will, maybe there won't be any sort of crash, but it's like, regardless, things are, I just heard this by, um, RFK Jr. was saying that, by 2030, these companies like BlackRock are going to own 60% of the like the homes that a family would use. And I don't know what's it at now, but it's growing fast. So it's like there hasn't been a time in history before when I was like, things should crash, but things haven't been this manipulated and controlled. I don't think at this level. So it's like they can force everybody out so no one can buy a home and raise the rent so you can barely pay it. And people thought this was a conspiracy when, the economic forum, everybody was saying you'll own nothing, you'll be happy. But now it's like those same people are in these huge companies that own everything, that own the whole most of the stock market and all this real estate stuff. So it's like maybe they wait, maybe they crash it when or maybe they keep it propped up and they slowly squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and get more, or maybe they crash it at the perfect time when people have to barely have enough money to take advantage of it, and they grab it all. But the stuff could definitely happen, and a lot of people don't want to believe that this stuff has happened because they don't believe that people are that evil or something like that. It's like, look back, this people are like, that stuff does happen. Um, and it's like, whether it's orchestrated, and it's definitely a mix of both, of it being uh planned, of people being opportunists, and it just being the way that everything functions. Um, yeah, what was I gonna say? I don't know where I'm. That's the other thing I need to stop doing, though. I need to stop saying, what am I saying? Because there's gonna be somebody else out there that goes, I do know what I'm saying. And and people gravitate to it, and it's, you can go, and I heard someone else saying this. I'm not trying to steal this, but or probably multiple other people saying this, but I saw somebody say this, and I was like, that's exactly what I've been seeing, is that you can go and you can, whether it's whatever politician it is, or it's these people you see on social media and stuff with, Andrew Tate or Charleston White or whoever goes on and just kind of says some shit to get attention, plays into this character, and then uh reverts from that to, they go, you just, you know this is, they say some obvious basic stuff, and people go, oh yeah, the Matrix. That, I'm gonna I'm gonna stop this soon, but I gotta make a note on the next episode. I was just reading in Kaczynski's letters to, or wait, I don't know what part of the book it was, but about how the system that has functioned and changed, and he updated it in 2016, and it's really describes where we're at, because they say, I don't want to give this stuff more attention, but if somehow it just pops up everywhere and you hear people talking about it, you're like, why? It's interesting that that's a time that we're in, that people gravitate to that. But whoever these figures are, they go, um, they point the finger and they say, the system's doing this. The system is saying, uh, you got, they don't want you to know that the government's all controlled by these people, and they say some obvious basic stuff like that, or they go, uh, you know, you gotta, trying to, I guess I don't really need an example. I just couldn't think of one. I've been trying to stay away from that shit. You get away from, try to get, all of a sudden you look at your hours on your phone or whatever it is, and all the different distractions. There's so many distractions out there. That's what the whole that's where all the business is now, is this artificial stimulus, just everywhere, just keeping people in these narrow little views of time, you know, and whether, and I mean, I look at drugs as like tools, but there's a lot of drugs people are on that are not used like that. They're used to keep people content right now and keep them mellowed out and fine. But what the system used to do was use whoever is the new whoever is the, kind of these radical forces that are saying, here's the new progressive movement you should join, here's a new thing. And instead, in the past like 10 years, those have integrated to where the point where they are the system. They are a lot of the prominent politicians and stuff. And so there's another segment that has come along. And really, there's a lot of people that have done this recently, but the Tates have done it the best, where they say, look at the system, look at the matrix, you know, and then they push you back into it. And it's so fucking obvious and slick, and people don't see it. People don't see and all these every I want to believe RFK or whoever it is, but it's like, oh, who knows if that's the same thing that they go, we're gonna get you out of the matrix, and then guess what you do? You buy some shit. You buy some shit. We're gonna push you in. We're gonna show you how to. We're gonna get you out of the matrix and into a larger position in the consumer chain, into the same thing. And I don't even know if I'm describing this right, but and there will be more of these people that come along and in different ways, but um it's pretty interesting right now. And people don't look into it because they want to be distracted. Look at all these people right now. Look at um saw a movie a couple weeks ago. They cloned Tyrone. Not Other people have probably say this before. Um, but I gotta make a point of it too. Not very diverse. That's okay. Still at an interesting message. And is probably a lot closer to reality than we'd like to think. Maybe they're not cloning people in those areas, but it's like, and they're doing this with every demographic, you know, but especially to um black people and culture. Like, think about if you got 15% of the population and you got like 50% of the culture. That's If I was the CIA, that's where I'd be putting a lot of my intentions toward. And it's like, this is what you can do. You can say, who got shot and who's a prop. This is another great example of is in music right now. You can say, okay, who do they push that's not really about any of that, and is propagating that, and in the dark shit. Um, Rick Ross, Drake. I saw and this was some I didn't even know. I didn't really even know who Doge Cat was. Sometimes some girl played and you go, okay, it's not good, but I didn't know it was evil until I opened up and I got home from work one day. I thought I'd sit back, relax, watch some InfoWars. There's the devil, and I was like, oh, I was perturbed all day. It really messed with me. But yeah, Drake is like big, and it's like, okay, let's look at who got shot. Tupac, Nipsey Hussle. That's all you need to know. Um, and it's like, I don't know, is the government behind it? I don't know, or is some big mysterious entity behind it? There's a good chance of it, but regardless, that's how the system is operating. Um, I should read that quote from Kaczynski because I don't know, I don't want to be like the system, but he says something like the system is not George Bush and his administration. The system is the whole thing. It's bigger than that. And he's like, I don't even know how to describe what the system is, but I can tell you what it's not. And it's not a specific thing that you can point out and say it's that. It's the whole thing. And it's not saying it's communism, it's capitalism, it's the same forces exist in whatever system that is created. And that's what I was trying to say in the um Fourth of July motivationalism episode, but I don't really I it didn't really I don't know if it came across right. I was just saying, what is nice about America is the attitude that's there. And that's what we got to create. And I've written some of our constitution for Atlantis too. And now that I'm like, all right, it's 10 o'clock, it's 11:44. Shit, I need to go to sleep and try and not lose money tomorrow and go over the rest of my schemes. And um, but yeah, I will put that out in the next episode. If anybody wants to come on, talk about this stuff, let me know. I'm gonna put it up on Reddit too. We got like two people who joined that I know are really about it. But yeah, it's about the attitude, and it's like maybe Atlantis 2 doesn't actually become a country. Maybe it's just a network. Maybe whatever it develops as. We don't really need the details now. We need the basics. We need fundamentals. We need to solidify that first step so the next people can advance with that and make sure it's a solid first step. Um, so hmm. So regardless of what happens to whatever, you know, government or physical things that we build, that ideology can't be destroyed. Maybe it can be, but not as easily. And that's what I was saying about the Fourth of July motivationalism. If you say this is what America is about, it's the idea of what it is. And a lot of it, you know, is about is saying, you know what, no, I'm gonna make it happen. And also, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? This is what I've been wanting to do, is to show everybody you don't have to pay your parking notices if they're from it's a private company that's going to make me pay. I already tore this up a little bit on an episode I deleted, but I should burn it. That'd be way more cool, but I don't want the fire alarm to go off. For like for like 40 minutes. And it wouldn't let me load the thing on my phone when I parked there. So I was like, I'll just do it later. $92. You don't have to pay it. You don't have to pay it. That's the thing people don't realize. They're stuck in these systems and they don't realize that what the fuck are they gonna do with it? Are they gonna come around and they're gonna make me pay a parking notice for $92, a private company? Are they gonna come find me and take my car? They can fucking try. But this is America, you dumb son of a bitch. This is America, you goddamn fucking fucker. And that's the kind of stuff you have to realize. That's that's the commitment you have to make it. That honestly, I don't. I was gonna say something else, but that might be a great way to end it off. Yeah, it's time.